Hey man, welcome back, man. It's your boy, the Cap, aka I Work Out with Steve, man. First Wednesday of 2026, and I'm back with my first Word Wednesday of 2026, man. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, man. I got three things I want to talk to you about, coming from First Kings chapter 17, verses 8 through 16. I'm just gonna paraphrase the text because I don't want to read all those verses, honestly. But if I gotta put a title on this message, I will title it Use What You Got, man. Use what you got. um, Paraphrasing the text, man. Elijah the prophet, he is sent to a place called Zarephath, where he runs into a widow woman who is gathering her last sticks to go home and cook her last meal for her and her son, and she plans to eat that meal and die. Well, Elijah says, hey, why don't you make me a small loaf of bread and bring it to me, and then make something for yourself and your son. Well, she says, hey, I don't really have much, only a handful of flour and in a jar, and a little olive oil in a jug. So when he tells her to make him a little loaf of bread, uh, for this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says: the jar of flour will not be used up, and the jug of oil will not run dry until the day the Lord sends rain on the land. So she went away and did as Elijah had told her. So there was food every day for Elijah and for the woman and her family. For the jar of flour was not used up, and the jug of oil did not run dry, in keeping with the word of the Lord spoken by Elijah. So basically, man, Elijah's coming from a place where Israel is in the land is in the middle of a famine, which means everybody's struggling. You know, there is no the food supply is limited to nothing. You know what I'm saying? So they're in a famine. They're struggling. Everybody is the pocket, the money dried up. The economy is down. They're in a famine, so everybody's struggling. This is why this woman is gathering sticks so that she can eat her last meal, because they're struggling. She says, hey, I'm gathering these sticks to make one last meal for me and my son. And she tells Elijah, like, hey, I barely got anything left. I got a handful of flour and a little olive oil in a jug. So that tells you right there that she ain't got it. But yet, I like it, because when she says she's struggling, when she says she's going to go make her last meal and die, isn't it ironic how the man of God shows up? Which tells me that even though she wasn't thinking about God, God was thinking about her. The text never says she prayed. She was praying. She was in the temple. She was doing offerings. She was making sacrifices. We don't really know much about this woman, except that she was a widow, which means she had lost her husband, and that she was struggling, because it tells you that she was gathering sticks to make her last meal for her son, and then they were gonna eat, and then they were gonna die, which means that she was on hard times. And yet, in the middle of hard times, God says, I got you on my mind. Oh God, I like it, because when you're not thinking about God, God says, I'm thinking about you. And what makes this even better is that she's in enemy territory. So you would think it's one thing to be the right place at the right time. She's in a distant place, because the prophet had to leave where he was and travel to a different location, which is enemy territory, because this place is run by Queen Jezebel, and they worship the god Baal. So she's in enemy territory. But yet God says, I'm thinking about you. Even when you don't think about God, God says, I'm thinking about you. That's free. I'm giving you that for free. What I really want to highlight in this text is that even when you're about to give up, that is when God shows up. God, when you're about to give up, when you hit a point in your life where um, things are not going according to plan, when you've hit a point in your life where you feel like you're at the end of your rope, when you hit a point in your life where you feel like, man, I'm not where I want to be in life, or I'm not finding the success I thought I would have, and I feel like everything is working against me. I feel like I'm on a downward spiral in life, and I feel like there is no looking up. I feel like I just can't. I feel like I'm digging a hole, and I can't make my way out of this hole, and the hole just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And you say, man, I'm just about to be done. And when you say you're about to be done, it's amazing how God shows up. God says, when you get ready to give up, when you get ready to wave the white flag, that's when I come riding in, because I care about you. Oh, I like it, man. I like it because, again, the text does not imply that she was a praying woman. The text does not imply that she had a relationship with God. The text does not imply that she knew the God of Israel. All we know is that when she was getting ready to give up, God showed up. And I think that's a word for somebody out there today. Don't give up, because when you're about to give up, that's when God shows up. I know we tend to believe that we got to check all these boxes, and we got to do all these rituals and perform all these actions, and yet God says, when you are at the end of your rope, that is when I show up in your life. When you think I forgot about you, when you think I don't see your situation, when you think I don't see your struggle, when you think I don't see your pain, when you think I don't see your hurt, that's when I show up. I like it, man, because it makes me, really want to be emotional, because there are times I can testify just how good God has been in my life, where I felt like I've been at the end. And when I've been at the end, God says, watch me show up. And I can testify that every time, man, God has been faithful to show up time and time and time and time again. So to anybody out there that's listening to this right now, you might be at that point where you want to give up on your business. You might be at that point where you want to give up on school. You might be at that point where you want to give up on your dream. Just remember that when you're about to give up, that's when God shows up. Second point I want to give you is God can bless you when you give him the little you have. I like it, because God says, I do my best work with the little that you give me. God says, you can give me next to nothing, and watch what I do with that little you give me. In verse 13, it says, do not fear, but make a little cake from it first. Okay, when you look at the original language, it's the word in Hebrew is called kaf. It's the definition, the hollow of the hand. It is the smallest measure. She said, I have nothing, only a handful. She thought the handful was for survival, but God knew the handful was for the seed. See, God says, I can do more with your little than you can do with your lot. When she kept it to herself, it was only going to be enough for a meal. But when she gave that little bit to God through the prophet, it became a limitless supply. I like it, because this reminds me that when we think that we got to have a lot to bring to the table, but God says, just bring me what you got. If you only got a little to give me, it's better for you to give that little to God than for you to hold on to that little yourself, because God says, if it in your hands, it ain't gonna stretch. In your hands, it has limitations on it. But if you put it in God's hands, there are no limits to what God can do with the little bit that you give him. I'm just gonna ask this question. I don't know, but in 2026, I would advise you, let me ask, what are you giving to God? If you got a little bit to give, man, just give that little to God, because God can take your little bit and make that a limitless supply. God can take your little bit and make your cup overflow. God can take your little bit and stretch that little bit. I know this is true because I've read my Bible. I studied my Bible. And I know that Jesus fed the 5,000. And when he fed the 5,000, they said, they was looking around. They said, all the restaurants was closed because Jesus was teaching for so long. They say, Master, it's getting late. We need to send these people home so they can eat. All the restaurants was closed. But Jesus said, what we got? We got, I think, 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. And that turned into a all-you-could-eat buffet. So Jesus, God, knows how to take a little and make it a lot. That's all I'm saying. Give your little to God, and see what God does with your little. And see, I like it because the text never said she questioned the prophet. The text never said, why I gotta feed you first. See, what people don't understand about God is you have to put God first in your giving. If she would have said, well, let me go home and eat, because it's from a logical standpoint or a logical view, it would make sense for the woman to say, man, look, I'm down to my last. I'm down to my last right now. Let me eat, then I'm gonna look after you. But it took faith to say, let me take this word that you gave me and apply it and do what it is that you told me to do. That takes faith. See, what we got to understand is when we give God that little bit that we got left, we got to move in faith. So I'm asking you today, what little bit are you willing to give to God so you can see how God can bless you in your life? What little bit are you willing to sacrifice to see what God can do in your life? If you just give God your little bit, watch how he take your little bit and stretch that out. Watch how he takes your little bit and multiplies it. Watch how he takes your little bit and makes it a limitless supply. I don't know what you have to give. I don't know your situation. I don't know what's going on in your life. But if I were to make one recommendation for you in 2026, man, just give it to God. Whatever little bit that you have, just give it to God. Whatever you're holding on to, whatever you're hoarding, whatever you're keeping to yourself, just give it to God. That's all I would tell you. I would tell you in 2026, hey, in 2025, I tried this, it didn't work. In 2024, I tried that, it didn't work. In 2023, I tried this, it didn't work. In 2026, I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna take my little bit and I'm just gonna give it to God. That's all I'm saying. Don't eat your seed and kill your harvest. Don't hoard the little you have left. Sow it. A handful in God's hands is always enough. And look, man, my final point before I get up out of here, man, is look. Even when you are not in the right location, God can still bless you. In verse 9, it says, arise, go to Zarephath, which belongs to Sidon. The location is enemy territory. This is a crucial detail we often miss. Zarephath wasn't in Israel. It was in Phoenicia. This was the hometown of Queen Jezebel, the wicked queen who was killing the prophets. This woman was living in the middle of idolatry, surrounded by Baal worshippers. She was in the wrong zip code. She wasn't in Jerusalem at the temple. She was in a pagan enemy land. But God's GPS found her anyway. See, I like it because God says you ain't got to be in the right place for me to pull up on you. You can be in all the wrong places. You can be in the club and I'll pull up on you. You can be in somebody's house and I'll pull up on you. You ain't got to be in the church for me to pull up on you. You ain't got to be in the temple for me to pull up on you. God says I can bless you anywhere. Anywhere your location may be, I can pull up on you and bless you. She was in enemy territory. She was in a pagan land, and God says there are no limitations. There's no geographical location that you can go to that I cannot pull up on you and bless you. Oftentimes we think, man, I gotta be in church to get my blessing. Man, I gotta be in a place of worship, or I gotta be surrounded by other believers to get my blessing. But God says you can be in the wrong place and I can still do great things in your life. Now, I'm not recommending that some of you be in the wrong place, but if anybody's watching this video and you may happen to be in the wrong place, don't get down, don't feel bad, because God says even in the wrong location, even in enemy territory, I can still pull up and bless you. She was in the wrong zip code. She wasn't in Jerusalem. She wasn't at the temple. She was in a pagan enemy land, but God's GPS found her anyway, which means that God can find you anywhere that you go. Oh my God, I like it, man. I love it because I love it, like I said, because some of you think I can't get blessed because I'm in a bad job, or I'm in a messy family, or I'm not in a spiritual environment. I just want to tell you, stop it right now. It don't matter where your job is. It don't matter what you're doing. It don't matter about your family background. It don't matter about your credentials, your resume, your last name, or your skin color. God says it don't matter where you go. It don't matter what environment you in. I can show up and bless you right where you are. God's blessing is not limited by your geography. He can set a table for you in the presence of your enemies. That's in Psalm 23. He can bless you right in the middle of your Sidon. Your location does not imitate God. You don't have to be in the perfect place to get a miracle. You just have to be in his presence. And that's a word for some of us today, man. Use what you got. I will tell you right now, man, to take a look into your life and ask yourself what it is that you're holding on to. Ask yourself what it is, what sacrifice you can make to give to God, and watch God work. If you're ready to give up, I would encourage you to hold on. God is walking towards your city gate right now. If you only have a little, don't be afraid to give it to him. The miracle is in the release. And if you feel out of place, remember, God can bless you in Zarephath just as easy as he can bless you in Jerusalem. Use what you got right where you are and watch God fill the jar. Again, man, appreciate y'all guys tapping in. I hope this video will offer encouragement, inspire somebody. I just love talking about God, man. God has been so good to me. And I just feel like, hey, when he gives me a word, I just want to share it, man. Like I said, just to offer encouragement. And I just pray, man, that in 2026, man, we kicking off the year. Don't let 2025, carry over into 2026, man. If you were dealing with some difficulties, some challenges, whatever, man, it's a new year. God can bless you where you are. God can do great things in your life, man. Just keep God first, man. Continue to honor God and how you live, man. And just remember, nobody's perfect. We're all trying to, we're taking it one day at a time. We're all trying to be the best we can be. And all glory to God. And as always, man, it's the Cap signing off.